All right, everybody, thank you. Welcome to the Jamaica Select Board regular meeting of Monday, October 23rd. And I will begin our regular items. The first is a call for any late additions to the agenda. I have one, which is to review and approve hiring Austin Meeks for cleanup at various town cemeteries. And we can do that at the end. Any other late additions?
More of a formality, but I'd like to make item 2 be 2 separate line items for approving the minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's easier because if there aren't revisions, and I know I have revisions to one of them, then we don't.
Yeah, we have revisions to the special meeting one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I think
I'm gonna do two separate resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think we normally do, even if we do two.
I don't know, it's like,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how.
No, I
how we need to
agree,
get-
I agree. I'm gonna do it as 2 separate resolutions.
Okay.
Any other late additions? Okay, terrific. With that, first we'll review the minutes from the October 9th regular meeting, and I'll start with, oh, Derek is texting. He was gonna join by Zoom. The Zoom link says it is invalid.
Because he's in that top
one.
one.
Right.
Have them search Zoom and then pick the second.
I can't even email it to him because I don't have my email on here.
And
Yeah, we should maybe make that clearer. on the
Yeah, I
website.
need to fix it, I just
Go ahead.
forget every
Right.
time and then
Right,
when we're here, there's no time.
okay.
What is this?
I don't know what just happened there.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Norton?
Is that for real or is it a fake thing?
Right.
Hopefully, it's just, you have to actually go to the meeting agenda, like the meeting link.
Yeah.
And then click on that one and it
Right.
works.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, so that does work also. So I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 9th regular meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Any edits on the October 9th meeting minutes? Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, I'll make a motion to approve the October 16th special meeting of the Select Board minutes.
Second?
Thank you, Kate. So Greg had some corrections and Paul had some corrections as well. It might be the same.
2, maybe, yeah, so accepting of the bids, bid number 3, we accepted the bid for Amidon Construction in the amount of $43,500, which is what is listed as his bid amount.
Right.
It just didn't carry down to the resolution.
And that's the only correction you have?
No, the second one is
Right.
identical, basically. It's for the Goodyville Road embankment restoration.
Yeah.
We accepted the bid for Embankment construction for $42,000, which is listed as his bid amount, but it didn't carry through to the resolution.
Right.
Those are the only 2 things.
If there were
Same.
complex notes next time.
Yeah. I think it was a cutting and pasting. Mike was being efficient. Any other changes?
I didn't have any.
Okay, so, let's first vote. With no further discussion, we're gonna reject it, by the way. All those don't we reject,
I'm sorry.
I have to make a new motion, which is to approve the minutes as revised.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So, I make what's the nomenclature to withdraw the original motion?
Just withdraw.
Okay. Vote to withdraw the resolution. All those in favor, please say aye. I now resolve to approve the minutes as revised per the comments of Greg Melmans.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Still no Derek, huh?
Are you sending them info?
I don't
have email.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm not hooked to my other computer, so I can't do email.
Or go to tab.
Hang
Are you writing
I
in?
don't know.
Do you got them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's coming to,
Oh, is he?
yep, there.
Oh, great, great. Oh, there he is, awesome.
He just dumped in.
I just got an email from him.
Yeah, I couldn't
Good.
find it at first, then it was mixed.
Is he in?
He's in.
Oh, okay, terrific. We have just been joined by Selectboard member Derek All. Derek, we're on topic number 3. So we have a number of FEMA topics to update. I'm gonna give a very brief overview, because we've been working diligently to add projects, as quickly and as rigorously as we can with, conservative estimates, and by conservative, meaning it's been our effort to provide an estimate where we don't know the actual cost, and one which we feel reasonably reflects an anticipated cost rather than undercalling it. We have a total of, how many? I know you said it today, the total number of projects.
70 plus damages.
Damages,
Correct,
okay,
yes.
all right. So a damage is actually a description of an event that has occurred and a damage that has taken place. We don't necessarily call them projects because, for example, material from Sasebo is one item. But they are, there are 70 plus sources of a cost that will be incurred by the town and is eligible for submission to FEMA. So that totals right now $3.3 million total. That encompasses projects that would extend well into next year, at least completion dates by winter of 2024, 2025. We just today submitted our first fully completed project with all costs associated with it. And so now we're hopefully going to be flipping into a process of, instead of adding projects, actually closing them out as they occur. We continue to work with Mike Berenson, who is a true asset to the town. We were joined by, do you have his name handy?
Jim Thomas.
Jim
Tonkovich.
Tonkovich. I'll give you the spelling, okay? And he also was extremely helpful. He was a new voice, and Mike will be talking to us a little bit later about site visits that they had today. So we are now going to be moving into high gear to complete our audited financials for the most recent fiscal year and to obtain a line of credit. So hopefully soon, certainly I would think by the next meeting, since we have 3 weeks until the next meeting, I'll be talking to the board and to the town about what we can obtain in terms of a line of credit, and to what extent that could be converted over the winter into the first half of next calendar year to low to very low interest rate bonds issued by the Vermont Bond Bank. But it's been a while since we talked numbers, so I wanted to give that update, especially since the number is high. Our wish list for all projects is a high number. And we are obviously focusing on projects and designing them in such a way that we would receive FEMA reimbursement for 100%. That is our goal. So with that, that's the update on total cost. Paid is in the vicinity of, since it's a moving target, $750,000. Total estimated, I've just gone over, which is 3.3. So I'm gonna pass on the update on awarded RFPs, remaining open proposals, and the Pikes Falls embankment. Do you mind, Paul, if we go through and then answer questions? Is that okay?
Fine.
Okay. So who wants to, who am I handing to you? To Greg or to Mike in terms of RFP updates?
I can go.
Okay, thank you.
And then
Thank
you
you.
can add on.
Sure.
So last week, we had a special meeting, we awarded several RFPs, or awarded several bids or proposals, I don't know. Those have already started. Eminent Construction retained or was awarded a number of them. They've already started on the first project going up Pikes Falls Road. Anticipate that may have even been completed today. I mean, they got a good jump on it last week. They're gonna work up, going up the road on those. We awarded projects for bank restoration on Goodyville Road. We awarded a contract or whatever for the paving of Pikes Falls and South Hill Road on just the pavement patches on this side of South Hill Road, and basically stretches up to Pikes Falls Road. Those are gonna be, they're scheduled for next week. There's one kind of major project that we're hoping to get underway this fall, to temporarily restore traffic over Goodyville Road Bridge. Working just this morning with FEMA, we've kind of gotten the blessing that we can do a temporary project on that and still get reimbursement for the temporary portion and the actual
The
work,
redo.
the finished product for next year, because it will have to be, it's a bigger project than we can undertake right now to have it finished. I think those are the big ones. I mean, there's a lot of still smaller ones being done, just a lot of it by our crew. But
There's one you wanted us to approve. No, tonight? Isn't there another
No.
one?
There's not.
No.
We kind of deferred it.
Oh,
It
okay.
was the other Pikes Falls Road.
It was the other Pikes Falls one, right.
We're gonna hold off on that because of the Goodyville Road project, so we,
Okay. All right, thank you. Sorry, my bad. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and there, like you said, there will be a number of them that still get finished up next year, and
Right, right.
but I think the major ones are in progress, and we've been lucky that we've still had good weather. We're still getting permission to get into the rivers
Right.
where we need to.
So we're gonna leave that second area.
temporarily, I mean, hopefully next week we'll advertise it. We were just,
Okay.
because of the Goodyville Road project, we deferred bringing it
Okay.
forward tonight, but we
Okay.
can bring it
But
for
we might,
next meeting,
okay.
scheduled meeting.
Yeah, our next meeting is not for 3 weeks, so if we need a special meeting, you'll let me know.
We shall.
Okay.
So are there a number of RFPs that, are these the first ones that have,
This is kind of the second wave of them, so to speak, or the second group of RFPs we've sent out. We do have the one for the transfer station that we're gonna be looking at in IT, but related to the FEMA damage, this is
Right.
kind of the second grouping of.
are there a number more that we want to put out?
That only a few that are gonna kind of fall into emergency category, and that would be the Goodyville Road Bridge and Pikes Falls Road that would arguably kind of be allowed to work at this time this year.
What's the status of, and this is not because I have property here, like how we do.
Well, that's
What about the
right.
Depot Street Bridge underneath that? And what, bearing in mind that in 2024,
I forgot to
we're gonna
mention.
get a new,
Sorry.
a lot of work done on our Jamaica State Park Bridge, and be a lot of traffic.
I forgot
Just
to mention
wondering.
that one's in that was
Okay.
that was out there too. So that's was kind of categorized, I guess, as a continuation of emergency work that was done this earlier, immediately
Right
after the storm,
Right.
when Eminent Construction had the bid to get in there. So that's on his list too.
Right.
I've been going back and forth a little bit with them to prioritize, but it's within the next couple weeks to restore and
A
I guess
piece out of the road.
both pieces under the
Underneath the
road
bridge.
and then get under the bridge too. Remove the debris and repair some of the riprap that's been damaged under the bridge. The big project of removing a lot of material out of the stream channel is down the road. Because it's partly the funding aspect of it, partly getting the permitting and getting the plan through. We did talk about that this morning. I think Mike can update you on that. But looking at it all the way from basically the town garage all the way down to the West River. Huge project. But when Wes is in the river doing the bank, I foresee that he can do a little bit of stream bag work
Right.
to take the stress off of the bank. It's not gonna be removing debris at this point, but it can be some recontouring, because the channel in there is definitely a little wonky. But that's on the short list within the next couple of weeks. Does that answer the question? And sorry I jumped in. I totally forgot to mention
No,
that was one.
it's news to me. Just in talking to Wesley, I mean, I don't want to repeat conversations that contradict what we just talked about, but there was talk about, there's a lot in that stream bed that could be used in another project where, and Keith and him were talking about how great it would be to sort of borrow from there to fix another one. I won't get into specifics.
No,
because it's already-
we've talked about it in the session, in the meeting. We talked about it last meeting.
Yeah,
But it's
so-
connected to a project that's not happening immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like it would be a good solution to the two, when we could get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
They seem to think so,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Wesley said maybe an RFP for that would go out later, or, maybe,
I think some of it's because this is not immediately deemed emergency work from FEMA, but there's still pretty good likelihood.
I mean, the bridge took another little hit,
Yeah.
just a little bit of rain, there's a Jersey barrier in my neighbor's driveway that's right on the edge of the stream.
Right.
Doesn't look so hot under there. I'm sure, has FEMA ran down there and looked under there lately?
I don't think since Saturday, but they've definitely been down there.
When V-Trans first did, I was there and they were alarmed, but.
That would be nice, then they should recharacterize the bridge.
They
probably.
did, they wrote a pretty poor report about it, but right into the get-go. But
It
anyway,
still gets passed, unfortunately.
It's not
It's a
even
pass-
anywhere near
it's a
the top
pass
of the
fail,
list
yeah.
from the
Right.
state perspective to be replaced.
well,
Essentially, we need a 40-foot bridge. It's a what now, 20? And it's supposed to, technically, from an engineering perspective, it should be a much bigger bridge.
with no pier,
Right.
with no
Right, with
metal.
no pier.
Anyway, that's,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
get into all that.
Yeah. Definitely needs a bigger solution than
Right.
it's still, it's not categorized as temporary from FEMA's perspective, but it really is a temporary intermediary solution, yeah.
Right.
Not too bad in the big scheme of things, I guess.
No, well, it is.
Yeah,
It's
no
important.
kidding.
It's difficult to really get approval to remove material out of the streams now, but if it's an emergency repair, we do have that
Right.
ability. But typically, they don't want material moved out and redistributed
Yes,
unless it's approved by the state river engineer.
now it's out in the open.
Yeah, and everybody we've talked to from the state and FEMA agrees that it should come out of there. It's just a matter of getting it documented
Right.
in the FEMA system,
No,
so
I
it goes up the
understand.
channel that we can make sure we get money for it. I mean,
Right,
we could do it, but it's a multi-million-dollar project, probably,
Okay.
when you talk about the whole river.
right,
We could go ahead and do it, we've got permission, but we can't afford it.
right, right. Exactly. Speaking of exploratory funding for the Ball Mountain Brook repair, do you want to talk about where your efforts stand in terms of a larger debris removal project?
Sure. We had a gentleman by the name of Thad Legamores who used to work in the area for Vermont Emergency Management. He's now a consultant working for Guidehouse, which is working with FEMA. He was here during Irene and he saw what was happening in the brook then. He encouraged us to kind of proceed with an effort to where likely FEMA should pay for all the removal of debris in the channel from realistically up from the garage area by the town garage all the way down beyond Depot Street. Down where Meadows Road, it might be a little tougher because the stream seems to be okay in that section, but the rubble and material above Depot Street Bridge and above to the town garage does need to be removed. We are working with the state engineer on a phased plan that kind of works from the garage downstream to remove it really next year, early in the season. And we're trying to get cost estimates as to what to do, how to stage the rock crushing, the ability to move material in and out of probably the garage site, maybe Factory Street would be a couple of locations where we're going to be pulling material out of. So it's it's going to have truck traffic, it's going to be a rather impacting situation for a construction season.
So debris is stones too?
Primarily stones, but woody debris as well.
Right, okay, no.
But that's preponderance that we have is round, rubble
Right.
rock that needs
River rock.
to
Perfectly round.
unfortunately be pulled out and crushed. But kind of to your point, we are going to try to use that material
Right.
that's crushed for our roads. So we are looking to repurpose that material and recycle it.
Didn't we crush a ton of stone down? Mr., what's his name? Raymond was gracious enough to let us use the field, the soccer field, and there was a crusher down there
Yep.
for a while.
Long while.
Was that after Irene?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So we had two
so,
crushing sites there and then one up on the river.
oh, that's right. So, yeah, and then a lot of those stones have rolled right to that site. Not that, I don't think it's funny, but it's
But it's
reality.
probably true, yeah.
The ones that were underground for 600 years, perfectly round. It's a sight to see. If you got nothing better to do, take a walk down the brook.
Right.
But we do have a captive audience with Vermont Emergency Management, National Resource Conservation Service, USDA, DEC, everybody's kind of got their eyes on this watershed issue. So we are getting the attention I think that's warranted. It's probably taking a little longer than a lot of people would assume, but we are getting that interest and hopefully some cost benefits to us in doing this through FEMA, where it shouldn't cost us too much. And we're trying to work with property owners right now in this plan and figuring out what the best methodology would be. The moving material out, where does it go? Because you do have to kind of just recognize where this rubble is going to be taken away from to, based on the FEMA requirements. So a lot of little details, but Mike Berenson's been giving us good guidance as to what we're going to need to do to kind of address this big issue.
And I'd like to acknowledge Mike's help.
Yes.
Not just guiding us through the FEMA process, which is cumbersome in itself, but to kind of be looking ahead and looking at these big pictures, coordinating with a dozen probably different federal and state groups, organizations to get permissions and fundings and visions and studies, and I mean it's a huge thing.
We got, I spoke with Wendy Harrison, our senator. She's also trying to get plugged in to address some of the stormwater impacts that are coming from upstream to help us with that, because these issues really are regional. I did mention also the issue with the water from Weston and Londonderry also passing through. So we've got really two watersheds that are coming into this area that we think need another kind of revisitation by the watershed groups. And maybe even some work programs on how to better mitigate the situation too. So we're not repeating this effort every 2 years.
Right.
Anything, Paul, you had a question, but is there anything else? I did include an other, in case there was anything else we wanted to raise.
I
Okay.
don't have it.
Paul, thank you for your patience.
No problem, just clarification on what you said. You said that you're working on getting 100% of the projects funded. I wasn't clear if you meant 100% of the projects funded or 100% of the projects funded 100%.
Funded 100%.
All the projects
Yes.
funded 100%. Okay.
Yes.
As opposed to the 80-20 mix or 75-20.
No,
Okay.
no. And if they're, particularly for work that has not yet been completed, which is, considering, we're looking, we have an estimate of 3.3 and we've only paid 750 to 800. That's, well more than half. It's really only about a quarter. if we get pushback, we're going to re-examine the scope of the project. This is, you know, for a host of reasons, we're really not interested in, you know, tapping tax money for this, other than we all pay tax money that supports FEMA, but you know what I'm saying, municipal tax.
Some of the things we did before is we used work in kind as our percentage. And we wrote off a road crew, for example.
Right.
The cost of us doing it became
Right.
part of the 25% that was required by federal law for the towns to contribute to these projects. And I don't know what it is now, if it's 80-20, 70-20, but whatever it was, but we used to do an awful lot of in-kind stuff to bring the town portion up.
We're putting every dollar that we can of time and materials spent by the road crew is included in our request for FEMA funds. We're not excluding anything. So when the time comes to make those difficult calls, that's, you know, that's what we're gonna be just discussing.
When you meant pushback, do you mean from funding sources or?
From FEMA, yes,
Okay,
yes, because it's a rather Byzantine process.
Yes.
I think we have about as good a rep who's supporting us as is out there. That's my impression. It's yielded a very detailed set of projects, detailed descriptions about as accurate as the first round can be as a layperson, but who's spent a bit of time with this. I just, you know, that once we go through the next set of processes, which is actually closing out projects. I mentioned that we did one today. We did our first one. That's where we're gonna start seeing, you know, how, you know, whether they could kick back, we get more questions, the documentation that do they want us to repeat documentation, not? I mean, there are a myriad of layers that you go through, yeah, that you probably remember. You know, it is one improvement from Irene, I think, is just the digitization. I mean, it's all online now.
Okay.
Everything's uploaded, it's searchable, it's just, you know, there's I think a more seamless communication among the various FEMA organizations, including, you know, their site in Puerto Rico that does, it's certain, you know, everybody has access to the portals. They still pull their set of information, but it is all in one place, which is instead of pieces of paper. It's, you know, that you're faxing in or emailing in. It's, you know, it's all done on a portal. Thank you. Any other questions or, okay. So that closes out our FEMA topics section. And then I put this on here, Mike, just an update on the efforts that another area where Mike has taken the lead is supporting private homeowners. Anything new since our last meeting 2 weeks ago? Maybe not.
Not a lot. We've got a list that went to NRCS, USDA of 21 impacted areas. 2 of them are studies kind of related to the watershed. The other 19 are impacted homes with varying levels of you know, flooding issues. Some were more difficult for us to identify, but we have listed those properties just to make sure that experts kind of in the field can assess whether it's damage from the storm or if it's other environmental issues that may be happening. Because you're getting a lot of surface water seeping coming up. And is it from the flood? And those are things that's a little more tricky for me to kind of assess. But the ones that are near stream banks and rivers is a little more easier to identify. But we have kind of the last round of properties were more related to water infiltration and seepage coming from basement. Just because the water table is so high right now.
Yes, yes. And any sense of what is the timing for individuals to learn about what is going to be made available to them in terms of funding or other resources?
Well, we're really just putting these properties down and listing. You know, I've been reaching out to Vermont Emergency Management that's now taking over the role of these damages and kind of providing assessments and going through the the reviews. We're sending lister cards of these properties to NRCS and Vermont Emergency Management for them to kind of reach out to these property owners.
Okay, so next step is the state will then work directly with the property owners.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
What, just flip the camera and me, because I forgot. What is the NRCS?
National Resources Conservation.
Service?
Service.
Did that get picked up? Did you say it loud enough?
I know, right?
Division of USDA,
Yeah.
or the engineering side.
Natural Resource Conservation Service.
They've been addressing the watershed issues and doing measurements and kind of getting an idea of what are the damages are, and more importantly, cost-effective ways to remedy these problems. If it's going to cost more than the home's worth,
Right.
they may be pursuing buyouts, but they're hoping for cost-effective mechanisms to protect these properties.
So part of the USD, they're federal then?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
All right, the next one is just a quick update. We'll be issuing a request for proposal for IT support for the town office. We did talk about this not long, either right before or right after the storm. And it did take us a little bit longer to get staffed up in the town office. So we're now gonna get that out this week, most likely in order to avoid waiting 3 whole weeks. I might ask the board for a special meeting on Monday the 6th, I think it would be, 2 weeks from today, to review the proposals that come in. I think we have 3 names. I found 2 of them, Mike, today, and I think we have a 3rd. So this is a reminder to anyone out there, if you're interested, we'll be posting the request for proposal on the website in the coming day or days.
What is the IT support, like a carrier or what is it?
So information technology, so it's hardware and software. So we have a network
Right.
that's within the firewall on a server. Quite frankly, we most likely need new servers. We need an environment established, an Oracle type environment for the software. Some new hardware. The lister's office for sure needs its own server, and they have some hardware needs as well. It will include the telephone. Our telephone system is grossly outdated, and our contract, as Sarah reminded me this morning, is getting more and more expensive every year for landlines. And it has there's no software technology. You can't answer the office phone on your cell phone with an app. That's now absolutely standard. When someone calls into the town, everything comes to the town clerk or the assistant town clerk. Instead, it should be like most other towns, you call and you have different options. You can go to the town garage, you can go to the transfer station, you can go to the listers, you can go to the town administrator, you can go to the treasurer, you can go to the clerk, the assistant. That is a huge time saver. And also it's just this is now, doesn't.
Right now, all you have is me, and I'm not
Right.
good.
It's not the best use of Sarah's time.
Because I do a lot of Googling to figure stuff out.
And a stronger internet, more
Yes,
juice, right?
yes, broadband, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I know a lot more now about what we're gonna be talking
You know, a
about.
lot of security features, backup, data
Yes.
backup, a lot of stuff that's.
Yes.
Yes.
kind of-
Security.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, being able to send secured information, etc. So that's what that will be, and it's not a small amount of effort on the receiving end. So that means everybody who's working in the office is going to be burdened as we get a finalized proposal. Once we award the RFP, they're going to give us their proposal for what the office, what changes should be made in hardware, software, etc. And so that's going to be reacted to. And then it would, once we get to a point where we're approving it, then it's implementation, and implementation's not easy. We're gonna need all hands on deck, so that's, to be realistic, I think probably, holiday time, hopefully we'll be approving some spend, and,
It's two things then. The things you just explained and then hooking it up. We have to hire someone to do
no,
that?
so the
Or they
person
do
who
it.
we're retaining, the proposal includes ongoing support.
Right,
So it's making a proposal, it's assessing our needs and making a to-be proposal, where we should be after an update. Then it would be, how do we get from here to there? So a transition plan, and then after that, it's ongoing support.
okay.
So the proposal covers all of that. It's a lot, it's a
Well,
lot.
I agree, like, if you don't have those phone numbers in your phone to call the transfer station or
Oh, yeah.
The amount of time,
They get
how many
my
times I got
phone
Sarah for
yeah,
this.
3 times a day.
At least.
Right, no, it's a really unfortunate use of Sarah's time and others,
Oh,
but
I-
Sarah predominantly. and-
Sounds like a great
Right.
thing to be looking at.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, okay, sign and road ordinance, updates on efforts to amend. So I will talk about the road ordinance. We did get, and I'm repeating myself, so I am a little behind on this one. We did get specific updates that have to be made from VLCT and confirmed by outside counsel. So on my desk now is to find the Word version of the existing traffic and parking ordinance and revise it, and I'll circulate a marked version so you can see the changes from the last ordinance. And I will have that for us I'll send it out to the board in advance of the meeting 3 weeks from now. It's not actually that significant of a change, it's just a critical one, because it allows us to enforce it. My plan is that at the next regular meeting, we will vote to approve or not the updated traffic and parking ordinance. All right, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Where we are now on the sign ordinance amendment is in the midst of a big muddle of information I've recently got from the huge history from over the years, notes and information from VLCT, and where we are now is that Mike and Greg and I are going to work together because it really requires several eyes and several pairs of eyes and some legal input.
Well, after you guys get together?
Yeah. Nick said that he could propose initial revisions, which would be very helpful because it's so convoluted. I had no idea where I got into it.
It's a long ordinance.
And my thinking personally is that we take an existing ordinance, Mike's suggesting too, that there's some out there that are much more up to the
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah,
And start with one of those as
Right.
opposed to trying to redraft ours now.
Yeah.
And just, make sure that whatever we're looking at meets our needs.
Right.
And VLCT actually recommended Dover's. I'm not sure why Dover as opposed to Manchester, but
That's what
they're
ours
both-
Well,
actually
because
decided.
Manchester has such rigorous zoning regulations. It has the separate town and the village.
Yeah.
Dover's very similar to Jamaica because it's a resort town. It has, it's all along a town, it's all along Route 100. So Jamaica, predominantly signage issues are along Route 30. So that does make sense. Yeah.
Now, can I ask one? Now, Nick, our town attorney, was in on this original ordinance, and this one other guy especially, and us. Did something change since then, or did
Nick
we
wasn't-
all miss something?
I don't know.
Nick,
Wasn't
I
Nick-
know I was on the committee to begin with.
Didn't he
In all
help us with
honesty,
this?
he was not probably involved. We didn't ask him to be involved as much as we should have.
I thought he looked at it and said it was okay. But
For the
that was a
sign
while ago.
ordinance,
Yeah, I thought sitting here, taking part in all of that we did everything we were supposed to do. It sure as hell felt like we did. With Charlie's help
Well, that was the, that was more the, that was the
That was
traffic
the town, that was the traffic
Yeah,
ordinance.
but didn't he give us some
On the
background
sign,
on
on
it?
the
Yes.
sign?
He told us that we should,
He said that it's not enforceable because it's not
There was
accurate.
just too many questions in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Seems like
Nick
we did
Nick
a lot
wasn't
more.
involved in the initial go-round.
but his boss wasn't either?
I don't
I
believe
thought
so.
we had. an
Like
attorney.
Tarrant? Oh.
The guy that probably
Paul
retired by
Paul
now.
Gilly.
Paul.
Oh, really? Paul was our,
Yeah, he was sat right here with us on a number of nights.
well, hardly anyone who knows more about municipal law than Paul.
Kind of a legend.
Well, he's wrote the
Yeah.
book, literally. Okay.
So it needs some polish, that's for sure.
Okay, that's just a question I had.
applaud Kate for taking this on, because I know how
Right.
challenging it was to begin with.
Right. All right, thank you, Kate. So next up is if, Mike, you could talk to us about the municipal planning grant that you've drafted and
Sure.
what we're hoping to achieve.
The Windham Regional Commission sent me some questions to answer, and I worked in concert with the Planning Commission from last week and put some draft comments together for you and Greg to take a look at, and I did send it to WRC just so they could kind of have it, in their queue for potential publication or a draft adoption of some of that language. But if there's changes that you all need, let me know. I probably want to get these out by tomorrow or the next day.
Right.
That way we can meet this November 1 deadline. But I think most of the language should be good enough for WRC to submit. They do have to put a budget together. That'll be the big thing, but it's
What's the,
probably going
remind
to
me
be
the
about
deadline? It's coming-
November 1st.
November 1st,
So
okay.
it's-
I didn't have any changes. Did you have changes?
From what Mike said?
Yeah.
I read it really quickly just this afternoon. I didn't
Yeah,
get a chance to
same,
get it.
If there's anything
All right,
that
we'll look at it
stands
one more
out,
time. Okay.
let me know.
All right.
But, I did try to make it a compelling argument so we could get a $30,000 grant. So I may have kind of focused a little on the more negative, but I wasn't trying to. We're just trying to show
The sky's falling in.
it's a
Please give
competitive
us money.
process.
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
have to find 20 or 30 grand out of our coffers. So
Right.
hopefully we can use
Right.
this funding.
So, do you want to just, because I don't know that we've actually said this in a meeting, what the grant is for? What the money is used
Right,
for?
It will be for the town plan update. That will be due, I think, 2025.
Yes.
But at least it gets us started next year. The planning process will take at least a year, then going through adoption. But we've got some
Right.
big issues here in town, and the timing couldn't be better, I think,
Right.
to discuss this and hopefully have an involved conversation.
Because it includes studies, right? We can,
It will, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've even touched on some of the issues with signage and zoning that we're grappling with here in town, and resiliency and roads that may be topical for this plan amendment.
right. Now, the point was raised in the planning commission that the planning commission, there is money in our budget, some existing money, not $30,000. But we hope to not have to touch that, but we'll see if the grant is successful. And everyone will note that I did make reference to an Act 154 certification. I did circulate some materials, but I'm gonna save that for executive session. Any questions or discussion on the,
Are there a number of towns that, in the Windham region, that their plans are due, wouldn't you say, 2025?
There are probably a few, I don't know off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but
they're
we're
staggered.
competing statewide for this
For
fund.
the 30,000, there's one?
no,
No, I think there's
grant?
multiple.
no, there are
I don't
multiple.
know how many.
There's a big allocation in the state, but it's a competitive process, so we need to kind of put our best foot forward for this 30 grand or 25 grand, or whatever Windham Regional feels is appropriate for the study. They'll probably go on the high side, chances are.
And Mike and I serve on the Windham Regional.
Yes, yeah.
And the Windham Regional Commission, I don't know if this has anything to do with tonight. Why are they, I should ask Chris, why are we having full commission meetings every month? Did you notice that?
I haven't really noticed that, but I mean, usually it wasn't every month, but That
It
was
seems
all I-
like the past three, maybe it's because of all the flooding and, but,
I think they're talking about schools and
Right.
school boards and stuff, so they've got a lot of topical information going on now.
so Mike's on the energy committee, right?
Energy and full board, yes.
And I serve on the transportation committee.
Yes.
And I should report some things now and again, but I
Anytime, yeah, just add it to the agenda.
kind
Just
of
let
like
me know.
think we're busy. It's not, they do a lot of good work down there. There's a lot of people trying to help at their own, with their own time and expense.
Yes.
So anyway, if I miss one, we're represented because we can only have one vote, right? Per commissioner. Can have two per town, but only one guy or one person can vote. So if me and him are both there, it's only one. Jamaica's represented.
Hopefully, mostly you guys agree.
Well, no, I mean, we can't both vote for something. Jamaica only has one. And then there's room for, I'm getting off topic here, but there's room for two, they call them civilians or citizens who would like to sit on any board from each town. If you wanted to sit on the transportation committee. They encouraged me to tell you about that, so that's what I'm doing.
Get more people.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone out there that wants to serve,
We have a lot of
Reach out to
need
Andy.
for service.
I'll plug you in. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna make a motion, once we all look in the book, to review and approve the timesheets for the town office, listers, highway, and transfer station.
Second.
Thank you, Kate. Any discussion? With no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Finally, we will review and approve the pay orders, all those in, I'd like to make a resolution to approve the pay orders, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? Sorry, I'm
Second.
sorry. This has like been a very long day. Do I have a second? Kate, thank you. Any discussion? No further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any public concerns before I go into executive session? No, with no
Just
public.
I'd like to say that the town repaired the Jamaica State Park Bridge. Did they fix that, or am I imagining things?
I can add a little bit, yes. It's still not quite right. Keith and I are going back there tomorrow to look at it again and see what still needs to be done. Basically,
Okay.
I wasn't happy with it. Keith was away last week, he hadn't seen it yet. But it's still kind of
All
a
right.
patch job.
Somebody asked me if we were done, and I said, it seems to be better than it was, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's still not quite right.
What a
It's better.
politician.
Yeah, it's much better. Whether it will hold up, I'm still a little concerned because it's a lot of little pieces. We tried to fix it as opposed to redo it.
Right.
Redo the planking would probably be a $12,000 to $15,000 job to take them all up, and probably would have to be outsourced because it's just a big project and temporarily closes the bridge, etc.
And we're gonna-
So we always try to patch it, and the bridge, in theory, is still on the schedule for 2025, and I've asked and followed up, and even after the storms, they said we're still on the schedule. It's still scheduled for that time, so.
For a temporary bridge this fall, or do we know?
The temporary bridge would be next fall.
Next fall, a year from
A
this
year
fall.
from now,
24.
and then
Right, yes.
the actual work of the bridge would be done
Okay.
2026.
in 2025.
2020. I thought we're finished in 2026 , no? Oh, okay, maybe I pushed
Yeah,
that
maybe
too
finish
far.
in 2025.
I thought so.
So anyway, so we're trying to be as judicious as possible for fixing it in a way that's gonna,
Yeah, it's definitely
Let-
2026 because the temporary bridge goes in the fall of 25, then it's dormant in the winter.
24. The temporary bridge next fall.
A year from now.
It's a year
Right.
from now? Not 2
Yes.
years from now. Okay.
I'm a year.
And then it's dormant over the winter of 24 to 25.
Right.
And then, okay, my mistake.
That's what
Okay.
I'm remembering. But-
Okay,
That's
no,
just
my brain
things
is
that we
definitely
remember,
rushed
not
right
me too.
now, so.
So anyways, we're taking a second look at that tomorrow. I think it still needs some
Okay,
work.
just-
so. But that's a good, I know that people, we've talked about it for several meetings, so I'm glad you brought it up because I think there'll be people wondering where we're at.
And the new deck we're getting on the new bridge is going to be nothing like that.
I was talking to Keith a little bit, I just can't recall what the exact design is.
I remember it's going to be much better,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
but that's a ways down the road, so we got another year.
Gotta keep going, 2 more winters basically, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
So,
Jessica?
Yes.
Hello?
Who's that?
Hi, it's Susan All.
Oh, hi, Susan.
Hi. Hey, a few meetings ago, one of my neighbors brought up the dogs roaming in town and the problems that we've been having with that. And I just wanted to reiterate that this is a continuing problem. In the last week, I've scooped up 4 big piles of poo off the library property. I finally posted it on social media today because I'm really tired of it. And I've also noticed just on daily walks with our dogs that people are picking the poo up and putting it in poo bags, but then leaving those poo bags on the sidewalk. And I don't know who is doing that, but I just publicly want to say that it's disgusting. And for me, it sends a message that we don't care about our town when our dogs are roaming and crapping on people's lawns. And on the library walkway. So I don't know if there's something that we can do with an ordinance or with signage or with putting trash bags out or something to help mitigate the carelessness of people who are being irresponsible with their dogs. Thank you.
Yep. We
I
don't
picked
have
up a couple of those bags.
We don't have a,
And I said like, hey, thanks a lot, you know?
right?
yeah.
We don't have a, do we have a pooper scooper ordinance? I know we have a leash
A
ordinance
leash law.
Ordinance says you have to clean up your.
after your dog.
Yes.
Oh, that might be another ordinance to look
But
into.
it's pitiful that you have to describe or explain to somebody that
That's
picking
usually-
up after your
And your
dog
dog
doesn't
is-
mean put it in a bag and leave it somewhere.
That Susan
That's
should
not-
have to say that.
That's-
I know, it's
But
ridiculous.
it occurs all over the place, it's just,
Right.
I cannot believe that people
Right.
have
The
that.
park is like, I know that's not our problem, but it is because they get really mad.
Yeah.
People don't pick up after their dogs down there.
Yeah.
And now it's trickling up,
Places.
up
They walk them
here.
out here. There's all
But I-
dogs out here and they don't pick them up.
Weird, oh,
I haven't,
okay,
I'm not
I
saying,
mostly,
yeah. Susan?
I mostly just want to keep it on, I mostly just want to keep it on the radar because it is an issue that I don't know what's different about the last couple of weeks, but it's been a lot on the library grounds and then just on the sidewalks. So it's not even like off the walkways. So just, as you're working through different challenges, wanted to kind of keep that on the radar. I know it had been brought up a few weeks ago as well. So thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, any other public concerns? Paul?
She just reminded me of one, actually. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to put it back on the radar, about using full names in the minutes, as they are, as an archive for the town. If we just put the first name, and that person isn't listed as an attendee, there's no way to know who that is. We talked about some property, it's just casually happening, because I think Susan's name came up last week. But just the idea, this is a town archive,
Yeah.
so we need to have last names as well.
Good point. That's true.
Good point.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of a discussion of the Act 154 certification by the town of Jamaica would place the town itself at a substantial disadvantage because the select board will be discussing potentially sensitive topics if it were to discuss this certification in public. Have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I now move that we enter into executive session to discuss the Act 154 certification under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The select Board of the Town of Jamaica at 8:23 PM is coming out of executive session. I can report that we have discussed the matter of the Act 154 good standing certification, and we are in agreement to proceed with seeking the municipal planning grant. I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much.